Hey guys, and welcome back to Starcastic Remarks alongside James to my right. My name is Ryan Chambers. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Go and use that promo code THPN the next time you are there using DraftKings Sportsbook. They're our sponsor as always. We really appreciate them as always. But if you're a Dallas Stars fans right now and you saw the news, that everyone's talking about. Everyone's talking about the Tristan Jarry trade, right? No, that's not what we're talking about. Quinn Hughes is now a member of the Minnesota Wild, y'all. And your first reaction probably wasn't panic. It was that quiet, uncomfortable feeling of, okay, that makes things quite a bit harder. And that's really what this episode is going to be about. Obviously, we're going to break this down in terms of what this means for Vancouver and it, the tear down that's going to be happening there. Probably, it's not just a Minnesota all-in moment; it's a Western Conference shift, and more specifically, this is like a Central Division breakdown problem. We're back in the murder, death, kill division. And the Wild didn't just add a great player, James. They added a player who directly impacts how playoff series are won. He is arguably one of the two best defensemen in the National Hockey League. He's won Norris trophies in Vancouver. And when you stack all of what he's done in Vancouver and what he has a chance to do in Minnesota, that path runs directly with the Dallas Stars. And it's fair to say that this absolutely complicates Dallas's first two rounds. And I'm not panicking here. There's not a whole lot of doom here for Dallas, but this very much is a recalculation, James, in terms of what we're going to be looking at here. I have no idea how long this is going to take. This may take 30 minutes, may take longer, but we're going to kind of break down a couple of things. We're going to do the typical thing that everyone else is doing. We're going to discuss why Vancouver finally pulled the plug on this, which I think this is a very random thing to do in December, on December 12th. We're going to kind of look at Minnesota and why they look louder and scarier and why they made this move. It makes a whole lot of sense for me in terms of if you're a Minnesota Wild fan. And then most importantly, because we are a Dallas Stars podcast, we have to make everything about the Stars. What just got harder for the Dallas Stars in their hopes and their dreams to return to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and not just return to the Stanley Cup playoffs, but get to the coveted destination of winning a Stanley Cup. So let's get into it here real quick. So let me just get let me give you the trade breakdown first, just the facts of the trade first, James, and then I'll get your initial breakdown here. Quinn Hughes is obviously, like I said, he is a Minnesota Wild. That is crazy to say. That is nuts to say. And in return, Vancouver is receiving some pretty decent accommodations. They're receiving Zeev Buium. Sorry, I say that wrong every single time. He's the biggest name in the trade, in my opinion, James. I know you have a different opinion on that, but they're also getting Marco Rossi, Liam Ogren, who projects to be a top 6 forward, and they're also getting a 2026 first round pick. There's no salary retention. There's no conditional chaos. This is a true, trading your future for the present for the Minnesota Wild, and it's the exact opposite for the Vancouver Canucks. So what's your initial reaction to all of this? I mean, it blows my mind that we're even sitting here talking about this.
Yeah, I think really the biggest thing that blows my mind is how early in the season this comes. I mean, I know the Canucks are sitting at the bottom of the league right now, but I feel like they're already throwing in the towel, and they're trying to get younger. That's probably what they should do. They got a couple of good young players, a first round pick as well for this year. All good things. And then I stop and think for a second. I'm like, Quinn Hughes is top 3 defenseman in the league, like at least. That's his worst.
That's true. That's true. Fair.
So
at worst, top
3. And then I thought about what the Stars had to give up for Mikko Rantanen, and I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten a lot more for him if they just waited a little longer. Implications for the Central, though. I mean, we already knew the Central was going to be a gauntlet. it definitely makes Minnesota scarier. But we knew they were going to do something like this during the season anyway. Wasn't expecting it to come this early. That's for sure.
I'll be honest. This was not on my radar whatsoever. Like, not even close. I thought they were talking about all the right teams. I thought they were talking about Carolina. They were talking about the Washington Capitals. They were talking about obviously New Jersey with his two brothers being there. But this makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm surprised that Minnesota was not on more people's radars when it comes to teams that had the ability to trade out some of their future assets or current assets, I guess you could say, and get a player of Quinn Hughes' stature. I mean, this guy's 26 and he's making less than $8 million according against the cap for the remainder of this year and next year. And then we'll talk about, what that could mean later. But man, like my initial thought was, Vancouver did okay getting what they got, but anytime you trade away like, honestly, I think this is probably a bigger caliber deal than even the Mikko Rantanen trade, James. I truly believe that because that's nothing against Mikko Rantanen because Mikko Rantanen has been lights out superstar, everything that Dallas has needed when we've talked about, hey, they need a superstar player, and we talked about years ago how maybe it's Wyatt Johnston, maybe it's Jason Robertson, maybe it's Robe Hintz, and they just went out and got one and didn't give up too much in terms of like current roster players. They gave up Logan Stankoven, but that was the first thing I did. Obviously, is I compared it to the Mikko Rantanen trade, and I was just like, okay, how did they do in terms of all of that? Well, what they do is I mean, Marco Rossi, they've had issues with the Minnesota Wild, and like there have been issues between him and the Wild organization. They didn't want to sign him for a really big deal like Marco Rossi wanted, and there's some friction there. Zeev Buium is the biggest one, in my opinion. He's even if he's not going to be the same caliber player as Quinn Hughes. Let me say that right off the bat. That's just not going to happen. But you are ultimately replacing on the blue line. You're replacing a 20-year-old who might be an elite blue liner with one that for sure it's 100% guarantee that he is an elite blue liner. Like you make that trade any day of the week. And then the other one is Liam Ogren, who might be a top 6 forward. But again, you're giving up all of these futures for people who might be able to hit their ceiling, but there's no guarantee. And you're getting back a player who is one of the best defensemen in the world. And that's why like it feels like a no-brainer here for the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild were in the same exact boat as the Stars were last year in terms of the Rantanen deal. Like this is a slam dunk. Yeah, you all of your philosophies about not trading away first round picks. I mean, those went out the door with Jim Nell. Like he just traded everything away. Mikko Rantanen, yes, take my money. Take my money. give me Mikko Rantanen. This is what they were doing here today. Is they were okay? We have all these young assets that are good, and yeah, we like what we have, and they're pretty good, decent players and everything like that. But look at what we could get. Like this is a no-brainer from Minnesota's standpoint for me, James. And that's why my initial, thought process is that, Minnesota, they prioritized the impact of the trade and the timing. And they're saying, look at what we're doing. Look at who we have to face in the first couple of rounds. And we're going to get to that. And then Vancouver is prioritizing their control and certainty in terms of they felt like this was the highest value that Quinn Hughes had was right here, right now, not at the trade deadline. And they didn't think they were going to get a better package later or even a year from now. So that's a lot of words to say that I think Minnesota nailed it out of the park here today. Like no doubt in my mind. And as good as Vancouver did with, a player that we ultimately knew was not going to come back to Vancouver, I think that this is immensely huge for the Minnesota Wild. This could be a franchise changing moment for the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, I mean, we'll really see because the big thing is that he's only got one more year after this year. So like they're giving themselves a really good chance here for the next 2 years at least. Um, but you better make a good impression on him in that time.
So let's start with the Vancouver Canucks side because it's the less fun side to look at. The Vancouver side, that this move is just kind of has been framed less as a shock and more of an inevitability. Honestly, the local media has been talking about it for a while now. Several years, but lately the last month, it's just kind of exploded in terms of the rumors. And this was a relationship that was heading towards an expiration date, and just like it was with the JT Miller stuff down there. And it was even more obvious to me because I watched the Hockey Guy just about every day, and his videos are great. He was talking about how miserable Quinn Hughes looked, and I mean, they're statistically the worst team in the NHL right now. The Vancouver Canucks are 32nd in the NHL. Like that, there's not a team that's worse right now. And we didn't know it before the trade, but he had let the Vancouver Canucks know that it was very unlikely that he was going to be re-signing with them there. So this was just something that they already knew was going to happen, and they were just kind of focusing on let's get out of this before it gets any worse. And they thought that this was it, and they just had to kind of pull the string and say let's go. And there's a lot of fan sentiment that matches that tone. And if we want to put it in a DFW sports perspective, James, let's put it in the perspective of the Dallas Cowboys, right? That they are consistently mediocre all of the time, right? They haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s, right? That's what a lot of the fans are feeling like in Vancouver right now. They just feel like there's just this owner who absolutely does not get or have an idea of how to run a team. And that's what a lot of people are blaming right now. They're blaming Francesco Aquilini, just like the DFW sports fans down here blame Jerry Jones for the Cowboys' lack of success in the playoffs. So let me get your reaction to Vancouver's situation. What do you think? Do you think they made out good here, or do you think they just made the best of a worst case scenario? What do you think?
I mean, it's definitely not a terrible return. Like they didn't get robbed, like I'm sure some people think. But I still think that they could have gotten more from him had people known that he was getting shopped around. I feel like there's just so much more they could have gotten from a player of that caliber when you also know that you can hold him for another year. Like you didn't have to trade him this year. So you have a little bit of leverage on it. But it like you said, it's probably more just all the drama they had last season, and they don't want to get into that again. They already had a full season where they dealt with that. And they just said, we're just going to get it done with now. We're not going to wait like we did last time until the locker room is getting ripped in half. So I can understand why they did it now. I don't think it was necessarily the best decision, but their return is not terrible. So who knows? The other thing is they saw really where I think this team or the Canucks specifically are really hampered now is they signed Elias Pettersson to almost a $12 million a year for 8 years, and he's only a few seasons into that, and he's just not the same player anymore, and no one really knows why. It's super confusing.
I don't think Elias Pettersson knows why.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure he's more confused than anyone. But it's the same situation with like Huberdeau, right? In Calgary and Shocker, both those teams are at the bottom of the league. They're the two players that both those franchises bet on are the players who just can't seem to figure it out.
So Let me ask you about this because I mentioned the hockey guy. Have you gotten a chance to watch his video?
Yeah, I did.
Uh, he was the first person I thought about when Elliot Friedman dropped the news at 6:34. Like I was like I felt terrible, absolutely terrible for him because that's the team that he grew up watching. I mean, imagine like imagine like mirror like Mike Madonna. Let's put it worst case scenario. Mike Madonna, same scenario, and we trade Mike Madonna away. I mean, that's the only player that I can think of similar caliber that we can maybe begin to understand how he feels like. And one of the lines that he said in that video that he did on YouTube was, "This is the lowest I've been in about 25 years of watching Canucks hockey." And that's including them losing the 2011 Stanley Cup final, like to the Boston Bruins in Game 7. Like when he said that I felt my heart leave my chest. And what did you what did you feel after watching that particular video? Because I mean, he is probably one of the most famous Vancouver Canucks fans.
Yeah, I mean, the second you open the video, it's his body language is completely dejected. Yeah,
yeah.
Like it was sad to watch. But at the same time, it was inevitable. Like everyone's been saying, that everyone knew that this was coming. This team has just been mismanaged every which way. They had one good season where I think that's truly what that team was capable of. I think they were a little bit overachieving, but they were definitely a playoff team for like 5 years, and they made the playoffs once. They just never could seem to get it together all at once. And I feel like a lot of that is from how the team was managed rather than how the team played on the ice.
I just I can't help but feel for Shannon right now. Like I really can't help. So he's one of the most even keeled guys out there, right? Like he on almost every single topic, including topics of teams that he follows, which he does follow the Stars. That's like his number 3 favorite team that he cheers for. But it just they don't seem to have a direction. And you know, one of the things he also said is he bets that whenever they do the press conference to introduce the 3 players or whatever and all of that stuff, he's going to say, "Oh, well, look, we got younger and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, all this and all that." And they're going to try and spin it to the positive where they can still make even talking about making the playoffs this year still.
No, they're not making the playoffs.
Even though they're 8 points out of a playoff spot right now, which doesn't seem like much, but they are the furthest team from the playoffs right now in either the West or the East. And it's just terrible. Like
they haven't looked good either. I think that's the biggest problem. Is I don't think there's been one Vancouver game all season where they looked good. And they beat the Stars at one point this season. Early in the year, they came back and beat the Stars, and I still didn't think they looked good in that game.
Yeah, the Stars didn't look great in that game either. Okay, so we talked about the Vancouver Canucks. Let's talk about the Wild side of this, and then we'll talk about the Star side of all of this and what this means for the Stars. They got to be feeling themselves right now, the Minnesota Wild fans, and like I know that they're going to hate giving up Buium, but this is a again, I'm not to make it about the Stars, but this is a Stars podcast. You're trading Logan Stankoven for Mikko Rantanen. Like, you don't want to give up Logan Stankoven because he's a great guy, he's a great player, and he's projected to be really, really good. But Mikko Rantanen, right? Like, okay, Buium is going to be a top 2 defenseman on whatever team he's going to play for, and it's gonna be very soon. But Quinn Hughes, like come on, like it just makes so much sense. And this is a statement. This is 100% a statement from Bill Guerin and from the Minnesota Wild. And they're basically framing it like this, James. It's like, we know who we are and we know our window, and our window is opening a little bit, this just opened the window wide open for me in terms of their ability to to get up there with the Stars and the Avalanche. Like, this is what Bill Guerin is looking at. He's like, okay, my team's doing pretty good. We're 7-2-1 in our last 10. We've had some times, but now we're really starting to get going. We haven't made any progress on the Stars or the Avalanche. We're nowhere close. So we're gonna play one of those guys in the playoffs come April, right? And whoever it is, they're better than us right now. And I have the opportunity to go out and to get this guy and have Quinn Hughes and Brock Faber as my top 2 defensemen. That's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous. And this could be something that opens that window for them in terms of the Stanley Cup window. And people are already talking about it online already. And the expectations are immediately raised for the Minnesota Wild. And they're going to be expected to be up there with the Avalanche and with the Stars in terms of the best teams in the NHL. And there's 2 real risks for this, and it's not flawless, right? So first is the cost, and they paid real futures, not lottery tickets. So they're I mean, the first round pick, okay, that might be a lottery ticket a little bit, but they paid real futures, 3 guys who were taken in the first round. And then the second is pressure. And when you make a move like this, second round exits are just not acceptable, right? When you get a player of this caliber. And one of these 3 teams, if not both, of the Avalanche, the Stars, and the Wild are going to be out in the first round. At least one of them, if not 2, which blows my mind. And Minnesota is way scarier today than they were yesterday. So do you agree with that? Are you going to push back on me, or what do you think about all of this?
I think they're definitely scarier. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you add someone like that, it's hard not to get scarier. But I really want to see how Quinn Hughes meshes with the Wild first. I think that's going to take like 20, 30 games, just because Quinn Hughes has a certain presence when he's on the ice. When he was playing in Vancouver, I mean, you could tell the whole team played differently when Quinn Hughes was on the ice versus when he wasn't. And I feel like anytime that he was hurt, the Vancouver Canucks looked like the worst team on the planet. Honestly, I thought that every time.
And to throw another Hughes in the conversation here, when Jack Hughes is not playing for the Devils look like a completely different team.
Those 2 brothers have just a certain presence on their entire team that just the only other person who comes close, I feel, is Miro Heiskanen with the Stars. It's just when those players are on the ice, they affect the whole game no matter what. And I feel like it's going to take a little bit for Quinn Hughes to get used to playing with the Wild. If he can really click with Kaprizov more than anyone, that's going to be a really scary team. It's going to be terrifying. They're going to have the Wild play based off of controlling territory, and Quinn Hughes is exceptionally good at controlling territory. So it makes their game even better than it already was. That being said, the Stars and the Wild were already a step ahead of them in terms of power rankings. I think both the Stars, the Stars and Avs were both a step ahead of the Wild, and it brings them maybe up to the Stars and Avalanche level. But no matter what, it was going to be hard to beat the Minnesota Wild in a first round playoffs, even if they don't go pick up Quinn Hughes. I mean, Kaprizov still is the heartbeat of that team. That team will live and die on that player. It just adds another layer that you have to watch out for now, and specifically on the defensive side.
Well, and what this also does, and we talked about, Quinn Hughes with Vancouver. We talked about Jack Hughes with the Devils. I mean, look at Kaprizov with the Wild. When Kaprizov is not playing, when he's hurt, when he's injured, they look like a completely different team.
They almost missed the playoffs after having one of their best starts last season.
and they've got a second guy that they can kind of rely upon that's got that same it factor as Miro Heiskanen, as a Connor McDavid, as a Mikko Rantanen, Leon Draisaitl, all of these, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar. I mean, the list goes on. They've got another one of those guys that can just be a game changer for them. And that's something that Dallas did very well last year in getting Mikko Rantanen. They needed somebody like that. They had guys who sometimes did it at very random times and things like that. But now they had a consistent guy in Mikko Rantanen. Now they've got two guys consistently on the Minnesota Wild who can be a complete game changer.
And one thing that I think might feel a little different for Minnesota Wild fans versus Stars fans when the Mikko Rantanen trade happened was the Stars traded and signed Mikko Rantanen for 8 years. So Rantanen's going to be a star basically for the rest of his career. That's something that I'm sure Wild fans will talk about for the remainder of this season and probably into the next season, unless he gets extended. But I think that's one of the big things with this trade happening right now is the Wild are taking a huge risk that maybe they might not be able to retain
him. But you have to like their chances.
Oh, yeah. No, you definitely take that chance.
I mean, like, this is a guy who is very familiar with Bill Guerin. Obviously, Bill Guerin is Team USA's GM. And as much as I want USA to win the gold medal, screw them when it comes to the Minnesota Wild. Like, screw them. It's just that when I don't know. You got to like their chances. I do. I like their chances. Now, let's talk about that risk here, James, because the risk is that you couldn't sign him anyways, right? Even if they wanted to immediately say, okay, well, one of the stipulations of the trade is that he has to sign a contract with us right now, and then you can have all of these futures. No, they physically could not do that. Like, that is just something that had to happen. And the other thing about it is that is like, obviously they're going to talk about, okay, well, they gave Kaprizov $17 million, so what are they going to be giving? What are they going to be giving Quinn Hughes when his time comes up? I mean, July 1st, is he going to sign, I don't know, $14 million? I mean, that seems to be the low end of the deal there. And then the question that you could start asking is, can you build the team? I mean, obviously right now it looks great because Quinn Hughes is at less than $8 million. And Kaprizov is still on his deal before his one drops into place on July 1st, where he starts making $17 million. But once they're both signed, can you build a team off of two guys who make that much money? I mean, I don't see how Quinn Hughes gets less than $14 million. I don't. If anything, it might get above $15 million, especially now that he's on a different team. And he doesn't have to give that hometown discount unless things get really good for him in Minnesota, and he does even better in Minnesota than he ever did in Vancouver. I don't know. I just that is the biggest, hugest risk out of all of this, is that you're giving up all of your futures for this one guy. You're putting all of your eggs in a basket for this one guy without even talking to him or discussing anything with him about, a possible, extension. Start, come July 1st after the season's said and done. All right. I mean, what does the number look like, James? What is the likelihood of that happening?
Right now, I don't think it's super likely to happen, honestly, if I'm being honest. I think he really wants to go play with his brothers if he gets the chance. That being said, if Minnesota sits there and is going to hand him $15 million for 7 years, you take it every day of the week, right? Like, that's hard to turn down. It's going to come down to him and what he really, really wants to do.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he'd take a discount if his brothers are on the team. So like Lizzie's saying here, I doubt he'd take a discount unless his brothers are on the team. That I absolutely 100%. You could see him taking, maybe 12 or maybe even less, 11 to 12 million if he gets to play with his brothers. I just don't see how the likelihood of that happening in New Jersey is. So okay, we've talked about Vancouver. We've talked about what this is for Minnesota. Let's kind of put this in perspective of the Dallas Stars, and that's the part that matters most here, because obviously that's the one we really truly care about. Let's see what got harder for Dallas. First off, zone exits, and just if we're looking at specifically the game on the ice and against the Minnesota Wild, Minnesota now has a defenseman who he breaks forechecks cleanly and consistently and easily, and that kind of neutralizes one of Dallas's biggest strengths right now, is their ability off the rush to get it deep. The other thing is series flow. I mean, like when the Stars I can't even remember now. Everything blurs together. 2 or 3 years ago, whenever they had that first round series against Minnesota, it just felt like even though Minnesota was like kind of punching them in the face the entire time, like the Stars were just like
literally punching them in the face.
Like, go ahead, it's fine. You might be winning. You might be thinking you're winning the battle right now, but you're not going to win the war. And Dallas felt like they were in control the entire time. So a player of Hughes' caliber can change the momentum of a series. So that's another thing. And the other thing about this is that I thought about. There's lots of other things, but matchup development during a game or during a playoff series. It's like now not only do you have to worry about a Brock Faber or the Minnesota Wild already had a pretty decent decor to begin with. You add Quinn Hughes onto that, and now you've got some matchup issues that you could have against this team. So they just can't hunt favorable pairings as easily anymore when you add a player of Quinn Hughes' stature. So and none of that matters at all if Dallas can beat Minnesota in the playoffs, which I think this is an inevitability at this point. This is the second time I've tried to say that word here tonight. I've sucked it up both times. The Stars and the Wild are going to face each other in the first round. I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's going to happen.
It's a little hot. We're only 31 games into the season. We're not even halfway yet. And the Stars are only 4 points behind the Avalanche right now. Okay?
Okay, but
now it doesn't look like the Avalanche are going to slow down ever.
Okay, right.
But
the Stars have had 2 regulation losses in the last 20 games, and they have not gained any ground.
It happens. Yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't know. But I mean, what worries you the most? What's the counterbalance in all of this? What specifically just got a lot harder for the Dallas Stars?
I don't know that anything got specifically harder. The Wild's defense was already top tier. Really, it's going to be their offense more that I think benefits from this. Quinn Hughes is an incredible passer. He sets up ridiculous plays. That's what's going to be. That's what's going to be the scary thing. The big thing that the Stars still hold over both the Avalanche and the Wild is that their forward depth is just still crazy. I mean, we lost 2 20-goal scorers last season, and down the center, we're still looking at Rope Hintz, Matt Duchene, Wyatt Johnston. That's your 3 centers, all scored 30 goals last year, all had 70 points. So, yes, scarier. Stars still have ridiculous potential up front. And the past 3 seasons, that has propelled them to the conference finals.
So I know I'm bringing up panic and stuff like that, but the reason why I do it is because I kind of want to quell it, to be completely honest with you. It's like all of this media hype and everything like that is going to build up that anxiety for Stars fans. I don't think the players really care, whatever. They're just looking at the game in front of them. They could care less. Honestly, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe Minnesota's real. Okay, all right. Then games are obviously going to get harder. But I think what it's going to do.
I don't know that they could get harder, honestly.
Well, I thought that too because like the three best teams in the I know that like Minnesota is like seventh, I think statistically in terms of the standings, but power ranking wise, that all three of these teams, the Avs, the Stars, the Wild, have all been the best teams in the NHL over the last like month or so.
And really, there's one other thing that I just thought about is like we were scared of playing against the Avalanche in the first round last year, and then they went and loaded up and got a ton of forward depth. I mean, that team looked scary with how much they traded for. It felt like it was going to be near impossible to get out of that first round, and then Robo went down as well. And
the last game of the regular season.
Even with all that, the Stars were still able to beat the Avalanche, who had a crazy beefed up forward group while they were missing both Robertson and Miro Heiskanen.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Stars team is just very deep.
Yep. And when the Stars really needed it, after Nathan MacKinnon scored that early goal in the third period of Game 7 to put it up 2-0, I thought for sure that the game was over. I thought that was it. And
even at that, like even if the Stars end up losing that Game 7, the Stars made it to a Game 7 against that stacked Avalanche team. I mean, the Avalanche sold the house to get that roster going into the playoffs. They moved everything for that team, and then they got knocked out in the first round.
And Ardell saying Avs goalies are a straw house. Well, they might be a straw house now, but they were a bigger straw house even before, like last year. You remember a year and a half ago, beginning of October,
they were talking exactly a year ago that they traded all their goaltenders away.
They like Georgiev came from the Rangers and got traded to the Colorado Avalanche to be their starter. He was a starter for a while, and then they had Annunen behind him. And Annunen is still in the league, to his credit, and I think he's still the backup for Nashville. But Georgiev is not even in the league anymore. I think he signed over in the KHL, if I remember correctly. Like a year later, and he's not even in the NHL anymore. Like that's just crazy to me. And like after all is said and done, this Stars team is resilient, and and one of the things that kind of comes back to mind for me is something that Luds said on DLLS a couple of weeks ago. He's just like, you're gonna have to play the good teams anyways. I mean, for the Stars, it's just gonna suck more because they're gonna have to play the better teams earlier on, and that's nothing against the Pacific Division, but all of the teams in the Central look way better than the Pacific Division. And it's mostly because the teams in the Pacific Division who we thought were going to be good are very middling right now. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Edmonton Oilers, who we'll talk about their trade here in a second if we get some time. And talk about the Vancouver Canucks. We thought the Vancouver Canucks were going to be a little bit better, but I didn't expect them to be last in the NHL. But it is really truly that murder, death, kill division that a lot of people were talking about, 3-4 years ago, and the Central Division being the best division in the NHL. And it maybe took a back seat for a couple of seasons here, but it has reared its ugly head here again after this Quinn Hughes trade. I don't know how you look at the 4 divisions in the NHL right now and tell me that the Central Division is not the most stacked division that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, the Central Division has been a gauntlet the last 3 seasons. Last time, so in the 23-24 season, there were 3 Central Division teams in the top 8, and then it's happened since then until now. The 22-23 season was the Central's worst year in a long time. So the Central is going to be a gauntlet. It has been a gauntlet. I feel like it will forever be a gauntlet.
At least while the current teams are doing this well. Like both teams are just absolutely ridiculous. You could look at the Avalanche and say that the Matt Duchene trade all those years ago was the the way that the Avalanche got Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. You look at the Stars, and they had a bit of luck in terms of the draft lottery and getting Miro Heiskanen at 3. And then all the great drafting that Jim Nill's team has done over the years to get the Stars where they're at. I mean, they've come up different ways, and this Minnesota Wild team looks like they're finally ready to join that fold with those two guys, like with those two teams. It's felt like all year it's been like the Avs have always been up there. Dallas has kind of been below them, and they're slowly kind of making their way into being in that tier with the Avalanche. And then there's just everybody else, right? Now it feels like Minnesota's like, okay, we're at the top of that, second or third tier, whatever you want to call it. And this trade gets us up to where people are talking about us with that top tier. And I think that's fair. I know they gave up a lot of players to do so, but in terms for the Stars, I think this is going to make for some really amazing playoff series between these three teams. However it pans out. I mean, again, no offense to whoever is the wild card that comes in through the Central Division, but they don't stand a chance. Not a single chance. Whether Dallas is first or Colorado is first or whatever, does not matter. We are going to see some of the best hockey in the playoffs in the first and second round in the Central Division side of the playoffs. And this trade is good for all hockey fans because for that one reason alone, the playoffs are just going to be stupid for the first two rounds in our area of the bracket. Just crazy to me. That's my final thought on all of this, and that it's going to affect the Stars a lot more than we think. So let me before no Ryan. The last thing I'll do is obviously that this, some people are like, oh, the Stars need to go and do this now. That's not going to happen. Jim Nill has never been one to panic buy, right? Oh, well, team in our division got a whole heck of a lot better. All right, we need to go do something too. Okay, we're not going to go panic buy for Rasmus Anderson or Nazem Kadri or anything like that.
We weren't even going to panic buy for Mikko Rantanen.
I know, right?
We were going to let him go
in our lap. Yeah. I honestly, I don't think the Stars need to do anything. I don't. They might need another forward in their top 9, and they might need another right side defenseman. But if the key right now is get everybody healthy. If they can get everybody healthy, then I would feel a lot better about it. But if you know you're going to be without a Tyler Seguin, for example, I think you need to do something. But it doesn't need to be right now, guys. Like it is December.
20 games. Wait another 20 games, then we'll come back to it.
Right? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm not worried about the panic buy, James. Are you worried about a panic buy by Jim Nill?
No, he's not going to do anything. He shouldn't do anything. It'd be stupid if he did anything.
He built a really good team. He built a really good team based off of
incredible team.
Yeah, and had to trade players away, including Marchment, and I had to say goodbye to Donoff and couldn't re-sign Granlund. And I mean, those are players that none of us really wanted to see leave. But despite it all, they've still been able to build a good team. And this team, I would say this team is better at this point this year than they were last year.
Coaching makes a big difference.
It does. And Glenn Goldson deserves a whole heck of a lot of credit for what he's done. And what's crazy is the first 10 games of the regular season, there were some people that were already calling for his job. And I'm like, and he himself even said, dude, chill out. Give me some time. I promise you will see the progression by about game 25. And shoot, we have seen that and above and beyond for this team right now. So, okay, we're already past the 45-minute mark, so we might as well go an hour. James, do you want to talk about the other? I thought the other trade was going to be big news as well, but it got completely overshadowed by this Quinn Hughes deal. So you want to talk about the other one?
We could briefly talk about it. You might end up talking about both of these trades again tomorrow with Chris if y'all do an episode.
Probably. So The other trade that happened today is that the Edmonton Oilers finally did something about their goaltending. And what they did is they basically swapped Stuart Skinner and Tristan Jarry. I'm shocked by this one thing. There was no retention by the Pittsburgh Penguins on Jarry's deal. And I think Jarry makes 5.8 and Stuart Skinner makes 2.6, I believe. So just I'm shocked by that. And the question that everyone is asking right now is, one, is it an upgrade for the Edmonton Oilers? And two, are they actually better? What say you?
I say no
To both?
to both. They talked. The Edmonton Oilers talked so much about not wanting to move laterally, and then they moved directly lateral. Okay, Tristan Jarry is just Stuart Skinner in a disguise. Okay, and he has less playoff experience too, and he's older, and he's making more. I don't understand. I don't know what they're doing. It's so confusing to me. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, this is what I would think is the definition of a panic buy, because McDavid signed a sweetheart deal for 2 years at like 12 point whatever million, and took way less than Draisaitl to basically give, Stan Bowman, the GM of the Oilers, a chance to go out and make this team good and make sure that they're going to go back to the Stanley Cup final again this year. And he didn't do anything. And what's eerie about all of this is that in the same episode we're talking about Edmonton, we're discussing Quinn Hughes and why Quinn Hughes was leaving Vancouver, and because Quinn Hughes was not surrounded by the right players.
It's ominous,
right? I mean, not to. It is nowhere near the same, situation and everything. McDavid has been very successful, you would say, in Edmonton and what he's done, and he's gotten to go on deep playoff runs and stuff like that. Like Quinn Hughes is very different. But the deal is that it is very. There are some connections people could make to both of those storylines, and for me, is it an upgrade? I would say yes, but does it really truly make them better? Is he the answer? And I don't think so. And the thing is they had the opportunity to take care of it in the offseason, and there wasn't a whole lot out there. But when you look at the players that have been traded or signed to contracts in other places, I mean the one that sticks out in my mind is Dan Vladar in Philadelphia right now. Like again, still different circumstances. They got a new coach with Rick Tocchet and everything, but Dan Vladar was a backup in Calgary. He is now the starter in Philadelphia, and he's playing pretty well. I mean, fantastic. You're telling me that Dan Vladar on a team with the Edmonton Oilers can't do something similar to that? Like that would have been an upgrade, and it wouldn't have cost you anything in terms of assets on your team. So I just don't. This is a panic buy because the Stars completely clobbered them. I think that's what started it, to be completely honest with you. I think that 8-3 loss that the Stars took, or that the Oilers took at the Stars' hand, was a beginning of some of the panic buy, and they started talking and asking and looking. And they were sort of looking at that point, but that just exploded everything. And this is what happens when you don't take care of your best players and you don't put good players around your best players. And again, it's just very eerily ominous to the situation in Vancouver.
The other thing that it does that I think doesn't help the Oilers is they lose a little bit of depth on the defensive side too. I mean,
Kulak, that's huge.
He's not like an amazing defenseman at this point in his career, but he's not bad by any stretch of the word. They replaced him with Stastny, which I actually really like Stastny. I think that is like a secret, really good trade for them. I think that's the much better trade. But when you're looking at it one for one with Kulak, it's like, did you really get better? and That's where I really think that they need more help. Like, because Evan Bouchard's not going to help you in that matter. Like, he's crazy offensively, but he sucks defensively. Everyone knows it.
Yep. It's not even close watching his defensive antics.
Like, he makes up for it in scoring, but like when you're the leader of the D corps, that is a tough thing to look at,
I don't think he's the leader of the D corps, to be honest with you.
But I think it's Ekholm. He makes the most on the D corps.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. He makes the most money. He gets all the attention from media, from fans, and stuff like that. I get that, but yeah, I don't think this really moves the needle at all for them. And I mean, and some people might just be like, oh, or some of the players are just like, oh, great, just a new goalie. Let's see how he does. And
it's really the perplexing thing to me is that Jarry does not have good playoff numbers. Like he's only played 8 playoff games too. He's played 8 playoff games. He's only won 2 of them. Now, granted, he was on Pittsburgh when Pittsburgh was not good and made the playoffs, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, Stuart Skinner was on the Oilers. Their defense is pretty similar, I'd think.
Well, that brings to mind what we were kind of saying about Mackenzie Blackwood at the beginning of the playoff series last year. And we were like, I'm not sure about how Mackenzie Blackwood would do because he had no experience. But the thing was, is he never really got a chance to play for a good team in the regular season, in the playoffs. And maybe this is Tristan Jarry's chance, and maybe he grabs the opportunity by the reins and says, hey guys, jump on my back and I'll lead you to the promised land.
Maybe there was a reason why he kept falling in and out of the lineup and was on waivers last year.
And that was what I was going to bring out. You read my mind completely. Like literally 10 months ago or 11 months ago.
Yeah.
He was on waivers.
2 years ago, he was on waivers.
Yes. Like, and the Oilers are trading for this guy and giving up.
You're talking about like, clearly this dude has had problems with his mental before. It's the same thing with Stuart Skinner. And you're trading him to a market where it's going to be even harder to, like, his mental's going to get tested like crazy now. He's playing in front of one of the most scrutinized teams in the league.
Not to mention just the media storm up there in Edmonton for hockey is nuts. Like, it has nothing compared to down here in Dallas.
And the other
there
thing
is no pressure.
Is Lizzie in the comments actually makes a good point. Blackwood looked like a good goalie for a long time before he was traded to the Avalanche.
Fair. Even on the San Jose team.
This is Jarry's like first kind of good year, in my opinion.
Yeah, it will just be interesting to see what he's gonna do. And the thing is you can't say one way or the other. Like with this trade. That's why it's so mid. So meh. It's nothing like the Minnesota Wild trade where you're like, okay, you're giving up a lot of assets, but look at what you're getting. You're getting the shiny toy out there that's just absolutely amazing, and there's not another one like it out there. And like, this doesn't seem to move the needle for the Edmonton Oilers. Like, it doesn't. So, I mean, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But like for the Minnesota Wild, this absolutely moves the needle for them, in my opinion. Not for the Oilers at all. I'd want to recognize Nate G 7204. Hey Nate, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. Nate.
$2. Catch Pete DeBoer on Morning Cup of Hockey. Morning Cup of Hockey is a show / podcast that Daily Faceoff does, and Daily Faceoff is based off in Canada. It was originally started by Frank, our good old buddy on Victory Plus, Frank Saravalli. And Morning Cup of Hockey, I've listened to them a couple of times. I have not gotten the chance to listen to that episode, Nate G. So I will try to listen to that here tonight, and then I will get back with you tomorrow night after the game. Who are we even playing tomorrow, James? Do we even know?
Shoot, I remembered until you asked me.
Right?
The Panthers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, the Panthers. So, and it's a 7 p.m. start here, local time. So, I will get back to you then, Nate G. Just make sure you comment in the comment section tomorrow, and I will I'll address that. Well, actually, he's got a comment here. Nate G also saying it was good. Pete DeBoer got fired up talking about his time in Dallas in a good way. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, especially how things ended. I was
Well, I mean,
almost surprised.
he coached the best team over that 3 years. Over that
Yeah.
3 years, he had the best team. And
He
for
had
how
the
much
keys to the
and for my
Cadillac.
little dig that I did early in the podcast, where it's like coaching makes a big difference. He also had a very different team. Okay, he had a very different team.
So was that really a dig at Pete DeBoer?
It was a little bit of a
It was a
dig,
little
but
bit, but it's in the past now.
it's hard. It's hard to throw shade on someone who made it to the conference final 3 times in a row.
Right, and it's like it's hard to distinguish what success is in the NHL when really there's only one true winner in professional sports. I mean, there's only one true franchise that's happy with their season.
Yeah. I mean, in a perfect world, it takes 32 years for every team to win 1 cup. Like,
well, that hasn't happened in the last 2 years because freaking Panthers have won it twice.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, even if every team won the cup once, it would take 32 years for that to happen.
Yeah. So, well, anyways, Nate, I'll check it out here tomorrow and report back to you. Like I said, so. Lots going around in the NHL. It seems like that whenever the NHL has like a big trade or like a minorly big trade, then all of a sudden everything else happens too. So I mean, who knows? Maybe like Wayne Gretzky will come out of retirement and say he's going to come play and join the Oilers for like $775,000 or something like that tomorrow. Maybe we'll get another one of those kind of announcements, but we'll have to wait and see it. It always seems like that when the dominoes fall, and this was a domino I did not expect to fall at this point in the season. I thought this was going to go all the way to March for both of these teams, for Edmonton and for the Vancouver Canucks, in terms of hearing all of these rumors and stuff like that. So I don't know. Well, I'm excited for the Stars game tomorrow, James. You got anything else here tonight before we kind of wrap this thing up?
Nope, I'm tired.
Yep, 11:28 local time here on a Friday night. So thank all of y'all this morning, evening, whenever you're listening, for doing so. If you are watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube for the first time, and you haven't already done so, please consider clicking like and subscribe. We are getting ever so close to 1,000 subscribers. There's a good chunk of you who are listening who have been watching our stuff for a while who are not subscribed. We'd really appreciate it if you would. Trying to get to that 4th digit in terms of subscriber numbers. 1,000 is very, very important in terms of building the podcast where we want it to go. So please do so, guys. If you haven't already, we would appreciate that. If you are listening on the audio side, leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. I always screw that up. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook, promo code THPN there as always. And alongside James, my name has been Ryan, and we will catch you guys on the flip side. Hope y'all have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Go Stars, and no one likes the Wild.